Now, this may offend some people, but one of the things that I will say is nothing freaks me out worse than a Christian businessman.
Boom. Wow.
Yeah.
But nothing thrills me more than to find an excellent businessman that happens to be a Christian. And I mean that because the guy that's coming at me with all of his Christianity out front, unfortunately, not all of them, not every guy, because I guess that could be accused of me at times, but unfortunately, that's the guy who wants special favors, extra dating, doesn't want to pay me for 90 days. Somehow he wants this fraternity benefit, and he puts others in harm for his success. So my faith directly affects that.
So I heard another, this was probably 9 or 10 years ago. I had a guy tell me something very similar. He said, I'm very wary of someone who puts like a cross or something like that on their business card, And I never heard anybody say that before, and I had him explain it to me, and basically he explained it exactly the way you just did. And so, I find that really interesting. We've got a member here who was talking with me one day, and she said, all my friends, this member is not a believer, okay? And so she says, I've got some friends that make fun of me for going to Creed, for going to the Christian gym. She kind of did her fingers, what do you
air
call
quotes.
these? Air quotes.
Air
there
quotes.
You go, air quotes. Benjamin keeps me right on
That's
some
good.
of these terms,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So, because there's no telling what I might call something. Anyway, and so it really got me thinking about it. So in that conversation, she was like, I tell them, and she was like, yeah, and they joke like, have they made you a Christian yet? Have they, and we're kind of laughing about it. And she says, I tell them like, y'all don't ram stuff down people's throat. Y'all aren't talking about God all day long and talking about the Bible and this, that, and the other. And so in a way, that I think about that conversation a lot. And in a way, I kind of like it that we have that reputation because I know, and as a member, and as a coach, that we're not cramming Jesus down people's throats. So that's kind of cool that we have a reputation for that, even though we don't do that. So that's kind of cool. The part that I don't like is that I would never want somebody to feel like they're not welcome at Creed because they're not a Christian. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah. I would say that you, as a believer, as a follower of Jesus, I'm held to a higher standard because of who I answer to. That doesn't need to be stated verbally for people to know that. They notice the excellence of your work. They notice that you do things above and beyond what other people do, and then that broaches a conversation. Hey, Clint. Hey, Benjamin. Why do you do that? Well, they've asked a question at that point. They're looking for an answer. And in that, I have opportunity to be salt and light and speak to why I choose to operate at a higher level. But it's not because I'm trying to convert them. It's because of who I follow and who I answer to and who I believe I will stand accountable to. So that even comes down to the nitty-gritty of the day, how I treat the owner of the store and the buyer of the store, who are my customers. If I treat them one way and then I walk into their warehouse and the guy who's unboxing my product and putting it together, and he's the bottom of the employment chain, if I treat him poorly, then am I walking with integrity? Am I walking what I talking? It's not good English, but am I walking what I'm talking? Yeah. And we all know the colloquial, actions speak louder than words. A picture's worth 1,000 words. We know that. It's in our speech. It's in our references. As Christians, I believe that what St. Francis of Assisi quoted, he said, in all things share the gospel. and if necessary, use words.
Yeah.
It's a pretty humbling. That's
an
a pretty
awesome quote, yeah.
humbling quote. Because how often I think that I got to be running my mouth because I am a talker. You know, I use 3 times the words of most men in a day. So people want me to shut up, not keep talking. So that's part of that. And I think, and I'll bring it down to even a Creed example. So for all you folks out there, my credit card twice has not worked on my monthly billing. You know, so I get a little friendly text from the last time it was Joe, then this time it was Clint. This is 2 separate occasions as your credit card company sends you those little notices and says, hey, we have reason to believe your card's been corrupted, so here's a new one, and you don't bother to give it to the people that are billing it. So I get these calls. My point there is there's an opportunity for integrity. My integrity is in question because my card is not working. There's a business that needs to be paid. How I navigate in that environment. I could have an attitude that puts me first and say, I'm way too busy to deal with this. Don't you see my agenda for the day? Don't you know I'm on a business trip? Don't you know that? I mean, I could take that whole stance, but I have a witness of who I say I follow, which is Jesus. And that is a responsibility that trumps all other responsibilities, is what are my actions saying to Clint, to Joe? Now, they may give me the benefit of the doubt because they know me a little better, but how am I treating that person across the counter, wherever it is? And there's another statement that I try to live by that says, people don't remember what you say. People don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And Jesus dealt with some really sticky situations. Try the woman caught in adultery. You know, try that one. She left there being corrected, but she didn't leave there being belittled. And that's the difference. Though that situation was really hard, and he actually said, go ahead and kill her. Go ahead, stone her. She deserves it. Stone her. That's what the law requires. Stone her. Didn't happen. But you see how he dealt with her. He told her, said, hey, don't don't do this anymore. Stop doing this. But his actions towards her were not those of looking down his nose and snubbing her like a rule follower, Pharisee, the way they treated the religious folk. So I try to never be religious. And I tell my kids it's not about religion, it's about relationship. We're followers of Jesus. And when you don't know what to do, what does love require of you? And I'm quoting Andy Stanley there for you guys who know that quote. It's not mine, it's his.